Hello America, it's TV's Dave Galvin, here back, finally returned from our recent trip to Europe, and you're going to hear about it over the next few podcasts. In the meantime, please hit that like and follow button. It really helps us spread the news, so to speak. Today we're going to talk about the Enchanted Princess cruise ship, and what we liked, what we didn't like, and our honest thoughts on it. So first of all, you want luxury, you expect glamour, you look forward to an enchanted part of the Enchanted Princess. When you book a cruise on a ship with a name like that, your mind immediately goes to, some white glove service, a 5-star culinary, and views that make your Instagram followers weep with envy. The Enchanted Princess delivers on 1.5 of those things. This is your honest take. Let me tell you what I liked best. The crown jewel of the Enchanted Princess was our cabin, Suite L105. Look, you need a good room. You want space that feels like home away from home, especially when you're crossing oceans. On the Enchanted Princess stateroom L105 is that space. This was the best room I've ever booked on a cruise in my life. It's a mini suite located in the front of the ship. Now, usually front of the ship can be a gamble. You might worry about the wind, which we had plenty of, or movement. We had a lot of swaying one night. But look, forget all of that. The comfort level in the room is through the roof. It is spacious, it is impeccably designed, and the bed feels like sleeping on a cloud. That's been endorsed by a team of orthopedists. Seriously, it was great. The real seller is not the thread count on the sofa. It is the balcony. Because L105 is situated in the very front, you're essentially, in the figurehead of the ship. While everyone's looking at the sides, you're looking forward at the horizon, okay? You see the world before anyone else on the sides. This becomes a life-changing feature when you're sailing into a destination like Montenegro. So imagine waking up. You're going to grab a robe, you're going to step into your private deck as the ship glides into the Bay of Kotor. These mountains are coming up on each side of you, reflected in the still like glass-like water. You are so close to the scenery that you feel like you could literally reach out and touch it. It is amazing. I woke up at 7 a.m. and went, I wonder if we're actually in port yet. And I happened to pull the blinds open a little bit, and we were just entering the bay, and I went, holy crap. I grab my phone, I go outside, you can see it on our Tickety Talk. It's right there. Absolutely phenomenal views. I get my wife, she comes out, and we enjoyed ourselves very much there. The mountains would rise up on each side. It was amazing. This was the dream. I mean, you're sitting there with your morning cup of joe, watching the sunrise hit the peaks of the Balkan Mountains, and you're like, this is it. This is what I paid for. So the staff, to their credit, does exactly what you want cruise staff to do. They were very friendly and very pleasant. They greet you, they help you, and they keep things moving without drama. Nobody was auditioning for sainthood, but nobody is making your vacation any harder either. It's solid, very professional crew. There is the technology. This is where this ship actually starts showing off. So I don't know if it's just because we had a mini suite or if it was like every single room on this ship, but you get a medallion. It's actually this little bad boy right here. You wear it around your neck, and I don't know about the technology. I'm going to assume it's RFID. The ship seems to know where you're coming from before you do. Your cabin door unlocks when you're about 20 feet away, not 2 feet, not awkwardly standing there patting your pockets looking for your key card. You walk towards your room and the door basically says, don't worry, I got this. That sounds small until you live with it for a week. Then it feels so luxurious in a way that actually changes your day. You got your hands full? No problem. You got this around your neck or in your pocket. Coming back from the pool? No problem. Got a coffee and a sandwich and a vague emotional damage of another island dinner. Yeah, no problem. Now, the same system follows you around the ship in ways that are impressive and just kind of a little creepy, but it's very useful. You walk up to a bar, the bartender can tell you your name almost instantly, not because they have a great memory, but because the system actually tells you who's here. I walk up to a bar, some bartender I've never met before. Hello, Mr. David. And I'm like, how do you know my name? Are you stalking me? What's going on? But it can also pull up your drink history. So it knows exactly what you like to drink. Hello, Mr. David. Would you like another Coca-Cola? Remember, I don't drink. So I'm pretty boring. But they would be like, yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much. So look, if you ordered a cocktail yesterday, the bartender already has a kind of a roadmap, and it creates that high-touch feeling people usually associate with the ultra-luxury service, except there is right here, the chunk of the credit goes to the smart hardware and the software. One thing I also liked is this thing does keep track of where you are on the ship. So I brought out my app. I'm looking for my wife instead of walking around like I do on Royal Caribbean ships. Don't want to sound like I'm dissing Royal Caribbean. Still love you guys. Still do. But you're able to look on the app at where my wife was located. We could actually find each other with relative ease. It actually would plot the route for you to actually get to her. It was pretty cool. Then you're going to get hungry, right? Well, this is where enchantment kind of starts to flicker like a dying light bulb. The Enchanted Princess, however, might actually find yourself losing weight. This food in the buffet is bland. There is no other way to put it. It is as if the spice rack was confiscated by customs before the ship left port. Every dish in the main dining room looked beautiful on the plate, but the moment it hits your tongue, the flavor profile is silence. Look, it's the culinary equivalent of keep quiet sign in the library. So, my first night there, I witnessed this really funny scene. I wish I had my phone. I left it in the room. But there was a man who had sort of reached his breaking point. He was on his third back-to-back cruise, and he had been eating this food for almost a month, and he just snapped. No joke. And he started yelling at the chef in the middle of the dining room. They called the chef for the buffet to him to hear his complaints. And he started yelling at the guy. He's like, I don't know what this is, but it's not the dish you say it is. It's runny and it's flavorless. And then he started yelling, I'm losing weight, he shouted, his voice echoing off in the decor. I'm on a cruise and I'm losing weight because the food is bad. It was really funny. Here's a man who paid thousands of dollars for a luxury vacation, and his biggest complaint is that he is becoming too fit because he can't bring himself to finish the food. The funny thing is my wife and I actually have a small little spice rack about this big. We typically bring it to us on cruises. Cruises tend to cater the food to an older clientele. In other words, as bland as humanly possible. It's like they don't know what spices are. They're in the Mediterranean. They're next to Greece. They're coming from Italy and so on and so forth. There's spices all over the place. But these cruise lines act like they don't exist. And this food tasted like it. Really, princess, you have no one to blame but yourselves. So while the fine dining, quote unquote, kind of failed you, we did not pay extra for any of the extra food. So, hey, maybe the high-end steaks and such, maybe those were much better. But everything else seemed pretty bland that came with the price that we paid. On the Enchanted Princess, you are likely to find yourself becoming a regular at some casual spots. So cheeseburgers, not bad. They were consistent. They were hot. They actually tasted like meat. When the main dining room offers you a deconstructed gourmet chicken that tastes like, cardboard with no salt, head to the grill and grab a burger. The sandwiches were pretty decent as well, whether it's a quick bite from the cafe or a deli-style creation. Because we were in a suite and I also paid for the Princess Plus, we got certain foods that were delivered free on room service, which was really nice. So I kept getting the club sandwich because I like a good club sandwich. I found the club sandwich to be exactly mediocre, a 5 out of 10. Not horrible, not phenomenal, just very mediocre. So when you're not eating under seasoned entrees or admiring the Montenegro from your balcony like the ruler of a tiny maritime kingdom, you can start looking at what the ship has for you to do. I enjoy going to the art auction. Yes, the art auction. That thing that many people walk past as if it's a timeshare presentation with slightly better lighting. On this sailing, it was enjoyable. It broke up the day, gave people something different to do, and added a little live event energy to the ship. If you're not planning to bid on anything, it was entertaining, and there was some free champagne. Entertainment overall, though, lands in a mixed review territory. Some people enjoy it. Some people clearly did not. That problem tells you everything you need to know. It wasn't a catastrophe, but not everything was memorable either. No one is ever going to confuse this with a Royal Caribbean ship. If I was any of the competitors of Royal Caribbean, I would literally sink some money into the entertainment on their ships. My sister came on the cruise with us. She said she went to the Comedy Magician, said he was so okay. She wanted to get up and leave halfway through, but because she did so much walking throughout the day, hurt her legs were hurting, so she just didn't want to deal with that. So she just sat there through the whole thing. As always, this is brought to you by timeforyourvacation.com. That's timeforyourvacation.com. We'll see you later.